Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Who likes my new crochet headband? Do you want to learn how to make your own? Grab the pattern by Holly Woodward Designs and the yarn links in the description below and let me show you how. I'll be using Paintbox Yarn's Cotton DK, my fave, with a 3.5mm hook. I love working with this yarn because it has a gorgeous twist. The strands are super secure, which means they won't split easily while I'm crocheting, and that is always a bonus. Cotton DK is also great to keep your head cool for the warmer spring-summer months to come. I've got lots left over here from my stash from other projects, and this is why this pattern is great for using up scraps. You can get so many amazing colors involved to create your jazzy headband. Let's get crocheting. I've got here half of my crochet headband made up. Holly Woodward's pattern uses the continuous join as you go method. Now this means that instead of crocheting your full granny square individually, so the colored square with the white, you'll be crocheting all these little small colored squares first, and then you'll be joining them together as you go with the white all in one go. I'll be showing you this method later on in this video, and I promise you it's not as tricky as it sounds, so do stick around. Let's start with our small crochet squares. I'm going to make a slip knot, and my preferred way to do this is to hold the tail on my left hand and make a loop by bringing the working side of the yarn over that tail. Then to finish the slip knot, I'm going to take the working side of the yarn under the loop and through it and pull to get your slip knot. And then I can easily attach it to my crochet hook and pull the working side to adjust the loop to the crochet hook. So to begin, I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to make a slip stitch in that first chain out of the 4 that I've made to form a ring. So put your hook through that first chain, yarn over, and pull through all those loops to create a ring. Now we're going to work our first round into the middle of this ring. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and this will count as your first double crochet of this round. I'm working in US double crochet, which is a UK treble crochet. So make 2 double crochets in that ring. So yarn over, put your hook through the middle of that ring, yarn over, bring a loop up through the ring, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through last 2 loops, and again, yarn over, put your hook through the middle of the ring, yarn over, bring up a loop through the ring, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. Now I'm going to chain 1 to create the first corner of my little square. And now continue to work 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 more times in the ring to complete your square. So 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and your last 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. And now to complete the square, you're going to make a slip stitch into the 3rd chain at the beginning of the row. So 1, 2, 3. There's my 3rd chain at the beginning of the row. Get your hook through that chain, yarn over, and pull through all loops to make a slip stitch. Now we can cut the yarn and finish off. So you can just put yarn over and pull that through the loop to finish. So there's your first little square complete. You'll need 30 of these in total. I'll meet you back here once that's done. It's time to join these little squares together with the continuous join method I mentioned earlier in this video. Now with the right side of your first square facing you, you're going to join the white yarn in any one of these 1 chain spaces of your square. So you can make a slip knot with your white yarn, attach it to your hook, find any 1 chain space corner of your square, so I'm going to do it here. Put your hook through that space, yarn over, and make a slip knot. So just pull it through that loop on your hook. So round 2, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work 2 double crochets in this same space. So 1, 2, and now in the next chain space we're going to work 3 double crochets, 1 chain and 3 double crochets. So yarn over, find your next chain space, one, 2, 3, chain 1 for your corner and do another 3 double crochets. One, 2, 3, and again you're going to work 3 double crochets, 1 chain, 3 double crochets in the next chain space. One, 2, 3, chain 1, 1, 2, 3. And now you're going to work just 3 double crochets in the next corner. 1, 2, 3. Now you have 3/4 of your square complete. Do not cut your yarn here because you're going to continue on to the next little square and repeat this process, but you'll be joining to this square at the same time as you go along. And here's how. So I'm going to take square 2 and I'm going to work 3 double crochets in any of the 1 chain spaces of square 2. So yarn over, find a 1 chain space and make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to start joining square 2 to square 1. So we need to turn our work this way. And we're going to work 1 slip stitch in the 1 chain space gap between the 3 double crochet clusters of square 1. So in this chain space here, we're going to make a slip stitch. So put your hook through and make that slip stitch to join. And you can see how square 2 is starting to match square 1. So here are your 3 double crochets on square 2, 3 double crochets on square 1. And we're going to continue to join as we go along. So work 3 double crochets in the next 1 chain space of square 2. So 1, 2, 3, and we're ready to join square 2 to square 1 again. So we're going to work 1 slip stitch into the 1 chain space gap on square 1 again. Make a slip stitch. Oh. There you are. And that's square 2 joined onto square 1. Now continue to complete the 3/4 of square 2 as you would normally. So we've reached a corner, we need to chain 1 to create the corner for square 2 and create 3 double crochets in that same chain space. One, 2, 3. Now work 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain space of square 2. One, 2, 3, chain chain one, one, two, three, and in the next one chain space work 3 double crochets, and again don't cut your yarn. One, two, three, and that's your 3/4 of your square 2 complete, and that's how you join your squares. You're going to repeat this until you've joined 15 squares, and you're going to do the same for your other 15 squares separately for the other half of your headband. I'll meet you back here when you're done. You'll notice that only 3/4 of the row 1 squares are covered. Now we need to work this final edge all the way to the end to meet here. So let's continue. We're going to chain 1 for the corner and work 3 double crochets in the same 1 chain space here. One, two, three. Now work 3 double crochets in the next 1 chain space right here. One, two, three. Now we're going to complete this corner with a chain 1. And now you're going to work 1 slip stitch into the space between the round 2 squares. So just find those 2 little loops there. So one's facing down and one's kind of facing horizontally. So you can just put your hook through those 2 loops and make a slip stitch. So from this point onwards, you're going to repeat the pattern I'm about to show you until the end of your second last square. So until this bit here, just your second last square. So we're going to chain 1 for the corner of this next square. And we're going to work 3 double crochets in this next chain space. One, two, three. Now work 3 double crochets in the next chain space. One, two, three. Chain 1 to complete your corner and slip stitch. Just put your hook right through those 2 loops where those 2 squares meet and slip stitch to complete that square. And you're going to keep repeating this to that second last square that I mentioned, just until that slip stitch here. I've done my last slip stitch in the space between the second last and the last square. And to finish, I'm going to chain 1 and work 3 double crochets in this next chain space. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to work 3 double crochets in the next and very last chain space. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to join this corner and finish the second and last round. So chain 1 for the corner, and I'm going to slip stitch on the third chain from the beginning of this second round. So find that third chain, 1, 2, 3, put your hook through that chain and make a slip stitch to complete the last round. I'm going to finish off leaving a generous tail to use later for the assembling of my headband. And finish off. Now you're going to repeat the whole process again with the remaining 15 squares, and you should have 2 separate identical pieces. Join me in the next part on how to assemble your lovely headband. To prep for the assembling, you want to weave in all of these little ends on the wrong side of your work. And the beauty of using that continuous join as you go method means you have minimized the amount of these little ends to sew in. Isn't that clever? Now you're going to weave in all of your ends except that generous tail that you left from finishing off that last round. Now you're going to thread your tapestry needle and you're going to work the ends towards the center of your squares. So going down and into your double crochets. And then you're going to reach these little loops at the bottom of your double crochets, which are around that ring. And you're going to just weave in your ends under those loops back and forward a couple of times just to secure them. So when my ends are too short, I actually like to put the needle through where I'm going to weave them in first. So just down those double crochets and then into the ring loops. And then that allows me to thread my tapestry needle easily, even though the tail is quite short. And then I'm just going to thread that through carefully and continue going around and under those loops. And weave it back where you came from. So miss one loop and go under and around again. And just so that it's nice and secure, we're going to do it again, go back the other way, miss a loop in that ring, just go under and around those loops. That should be nice and secure and shouldn't come out. So we can snip that. And then we have the other yarn tail from the ring that we made, and we can just keep going under the loops, then around a couple of times. And you're going to continue for all of the squares, all of those ends for both of your pieces. You can see here I've already weaved in all of my ends for this piece. So to assemble your headband, you're going to take one of your pieces, you're going to turn it to the back, and you're going to form a loop by folding 3 squares over. And there you have your 6 square loop. And to close this loop, you're going to use the end that you didn't sew in or weave in, and you're going to create a straight stitch just along this line to close the loop. So just thread your tapestry needle with that end and just sew that closed with a straight stitch. Just make sure you secure it with a knot after finishing your straight stitches. There you go. That's one loop formed. You can weave in this end later on. Now, you're going to take this piece and you're going to turn it back so that the back side is facing down. Turn it around and you're going to take your second piece, turn it to the back, and you're going to insert it in that first loop you just created. So just insert it. And you're going to repeat the previous step by folding over 3 squares. And again, you're going to close that 6 square loop by using that other end and stitching a straight stitch to close it. You can see here we've now formed the twist in our headband by linking these 2 pieces like a chain. Now all that's left is to weave in these 2 last little tails and I'll be ready to wear my beautiful headband. That was so quick and easy, right? And once you're done, you can just tie it to the back of your neck and style it out with your favorite outfit. I'd love to know what you thought about this tutorial, so do drop me a comment and let me know. We've got lots more spring summer projects to show you, so remember to like this video and subscribe to us to keep up. Happy crocheting!